Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this 18th, Thursday, the 18th of January, 2023. 2024. Thank you for tuning in. Listen, I'm going to talk about this morning a debilitating illness that is very common, and most of you have probably never ever heard of it before. I'm going to be talking about it in this show, and it's out there, and a lot of people have it, and I think a lot more people are going to have it because it could actually be COVID could be causing one of the side effects from COVID possibly is causing this disease, but it was around before COVID, and we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about the big story today, and we're going to get right into that. Is this story right here. Pakistan has fired a strike at Iran with missiles and stuff, and they've killed a lot of people, including children, from what I hear. It says Pakistan says it used rockets and drones to strike the separatist Baloch militants inside Iran on Thursday, in a retaliatory strike 2 days after Tehran said it attacked the basis of another group within Pakistan territory. Iranian media said several missiles hit the village. So, there we go. What this could do is this puts an awful lot of pressure on this regional war that's already going to expand. So, we're right on the edge of maybe a new war erupting, possibly between Iran and Pakistan. Pakistan's a nuclear power, by the way. Question mark: is Iran a nuclear power? We don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. You know, but Iran is got very capable missiles as well, and so even if it's not nuclear, this whole thing could expand conventionally. We're going to have to wait and see if there's any if how many retaliatory strikes come from this, or if this spreads the war out further. Because these are two rather large regional powers now, exchanging blows, Iran and Pakistan. So it's war. Remember I told you guys, war has a way of spreading. It's almost like a rash. Now, the U.S. military has launched another barrage of missiles against the Houthi sites in Yemen. Some more. It says Washington, the U.S. military fired another wave of ship and submarine-launched missile strike against Houthi-controlled sites on Wednesday. This is the fourth time in so many days they have directly targeted the group in Yemen. Violence ignited in the wake of the Israeli-Hamas war continued to spill over into the Middle East. And there's very much fear of prolonged Red Sea shipping crisis, fuel inflation fears as oil, retail cargo, the delays rise. So what we're looking at is this is going to fuel inflation, this war in the Red Sea. Now, it's going to fuel inflation a heck of a lot more if the war starts to spread to the Persian Gulf region, which is right between the tensions between Iran and Pakistan. Now, in other news, Trump vows to never allow central bank digital currency. Former President Donald Trump on Wednesday vowed to never allow the use of a central bank digital currency. He says, as it would give the government, as quote unquote, as it would give the government absolute control over your money. Now, the thing is, I want to say something here. I use multiple news sources. I use news sources that come from the mainstream media. I use news sources that come from alternative media. I'm out there searching for what's true and what's going on and trying to bring the story to you guys. Now, I get an accurate story. In other words, I perceive that the story is truth, and it's part of the picture of what's going on in the world. I'm going to use it, even if the story come from the press from hell and the devil himself wrote the story. If it's correct, then it's newsworthy. I'll tell you, I'm not on either side of this political divide that's going on right now. I have my own opinions about this political divide. You guys all know what political divide I'm talking about. The thing is the side that I'm on is the side of the people, the masses, the massive population out there. Not on the side of the 1%ers, but I'm on the side of the 99%. Because I'm one of you guys. I'm in that 99% grouping. I'm not a 1%er, you know? And I don't like what's going on. How they're squeezing. The 1% is squeezing the 99% right out of the picture. I'll tell you kind of what it's like. It's kind of like, say, a husband and wife were married, you know, and say she kept gaining weight. Say she get up to 600 pounds, you know, so they go out to a picnic. And he's a little skinny fella. He only weighs 99 pounds. They go out for a picnic, you know. And the rest of the family comes along and they take up one side of the picnic table. So she gets on the other side of the picnic table, right? And her husband tries to sit behind her, but she kind of squeezes him off with his hip and he falls on the ground. His bum falls on the ground because she takes up that whole side of the picnic table. This is the way with the 1%ers. They're a small minority, but they're squeezing us right off the end of the picnic table, where we don't even have a place to sit at the table any longer. You know, and this isn't fair. Anyway, I don't want to get off on a rant or anything, but we're going to move on, take a look at some other stories here. NATO is, now this ties into what I was talking about with this program for war that they got going on right now. And I'm going to call it a program because it seems to me they got it all scheduled out already, practically. You know, and with this whole thing. And it says NATO is to kick off the biggest drills in decades with some 90,000 troops. You know? So Russia's bringing in 200,000. NATO's bringing in 90,000 more. Can't you guys see what's happening? The world is becoming divided upon these two lines. Out in one line is the BRICS nations, and the other line is the NATO nations. And they're both, when you put them all together, all of the countries that are part of the BRICS member nations, and you put all the nations, all the countries that are part of NATO member countries, including the United States of America, when you put it all together, they're fairly equally powered. You know, so basically what this does is it divides the world in half. One side wants one thing, the other side wants a different thing, and they're both gearing up for troop deployment. What does this mean? If there was an alien out there watching the planet, he'd say, uh-oh. He'd say, look at this. They're dividing off into two sides on that globe down there. One side's dividing off one way, one side's dividing off the other way. What kind of technology base do they have? And the guy would come in and he says, sir, they've got quite a high technology base. They have nuclear weapons and delivery systems, and many of them. And the guy said, uh-oh, stand back. It's only going to be a matter of time until that planet blows itself the hell up. Too bad. Silly people. You know what I mean? Fighting over resources and stuff, you know, and fighting over... Maybe they don't even know what they're fighting over. Once it gets started, you know, I mean, at that point, it's kind of like, what fuel do they need? Once it really gets going, I mean, they just lose all sense of control. Now, here's that disease I was telling you about. And you might have never heard of it before. It's called chronic fatigue. And it's just like the name says. Chronic meaning it's continuous, doesn't go away. I'll tell you, evidently the people that have this, they feel, you ever been, maybe you're a person that has a lot of energy, you know, you're able to go, 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 go all day long, and then you catch the flu. How do you feel on those days when you have the flu? A loss of energy. It's a chore just to get out of bed and walk across the kitchen when you have the flu. And then the first thing when you get across the kitchen, have a cup of water, you just can't wait to walk back to bed and lay down because you got the flu. All your energy's gone. But it goes away after a few days. Now imagine having that continuously. It doesn't go away and the doctors don't know what in the hell's wrong with you. It says chronic fatigue syndrome is also known as myalgic encephalomyelitis. It's a neurological disease with no known cause. According to some hypothesis, chronic fatigue syndrome may be caused by a viral infection. Well, COVID's a viral infection. But there's a lot of other viral infections too out there that could be triggering this. And it says it has problems with your immune system or hormones. Even perfectly healthy people can be diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. How would you know if you're suffering from this illness? Well, first, you're going to know if you're diagnosed. How do you diagnose it? I think they're going to get into that here. Lingering fatigue. The primary symptom of chronic fatigue is extreme, persistent fatigue, incapacitating. It's physical exhaustion that prevents sufferers from accomplishing daily activities. To qualify as chronic fatigue, the condition must last at least 6 months and have no known cause, such as cancer or medication, no other known causes. In other words, you don't know what's causing it. It's just you got it, and it just never ends. You're just constantly tired all the time. You're constantly in bed all the time. And you don't know what's causing it because you used to be maybe a very active person, had a lot of energy. Now you're just like zonked 24/7. You know? And there's varying degrees to this illness. Now, I'm talking about severe, the illness when you have it severe, but maybe you've got just a mild case of it, and you haven't been feeling quite right lately, and you have a loss of energy, and you're not up and around as much as you used to be. Maybe you don't feel like taking that walk any longer. Maybe you don't feel like doing this or doing that. You might still have chronic fatigue, and it's onset by a virus. Starts it. So it shows you how evil viruses are and what they do to us. You know, I mean, it's almost as bad as what the politicians do to us, and the rich, the ultra rich, and everything. How when you combine everything we got going against us in this society, you work it down through all the list of diseases that we have attacking us. You know, and you take a look at all of the different things that are out there, just constantly waiting for you, almost like. No wonder these chronic fatigue people don't want to get out of bed in the morning, for crying out loud. You know, with all this stuff going on in the world. Why the world? I mean, we could solve an awful lot. The people of this world could solve an awful lot of these problems that we have if we just work together in unity rather than waging war. War does not solve problems. In fact, it moves us backwards very quickly, you know. Let's get in there and take a look at the silver price today. $22.59 today. It's up 6 cents on the day so far, which is not much. So that's what we got going on with silver. Cryptocurrency today. Bitcoin is at 42,485. Ethereum is at 2516. And XRP is at 56.1 cents. Taking a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average today, it's down 10 points. at 37,256 today. And taking a look at crude oil, is at $73.44. It's up 88 cents today, or 1.21%. Bonds and rates, we're looking at a mixed bag, and the short end is falling, but the long end is rising. We're looking at a U.S. 10-year at 4.12. It's up 2.1 basis points. And the 30-year is at 4.35. It's up 4.1 basis points. The dollar index is at 103.53. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe. Push that little thumbs up button for me, please. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Have a great day. Bye-bye.